I don't do writing sessions. Like some comics will like write together, and I'd much rather have a conversation together. And if something comes up organically and someone goes, "Have you ever told that on stage?" No. Well, consider it, because that's a really funny opinion or story or whatever. That's the way I like to write. It's not like, hey, I had this, like that's not the way I like to do it.
Yeah, you seemed, even when I got to watch you Friday, and if I didn't have other shows, I would have come and watched multiple shows just because I like to see a comedian's show from night to night.
Yeah, you came to Friday Late Show.
I came to the Friday Late Show.
That was a fun show, if I remember that.
Yeah, it was a great show.
That was a fun show. I remember I felt really loose and stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes Friday Late is just a drunken
notoriously
mess.
horrible.
But yeah, your audience, they were your fans, and they were there for you, and it was like a nice environment.
Yeah, they were cool.
But you had just like this assassination that happened in New York.
CEO, yeah.
Yeah, and you seemed to have already had like a fully formed bit from this. It's like, how do you develop these ideas? Because I saw on your YouTube too, you're starting to put out kind of like Josh Johnson, of just these long form videos.
Of the first part of my set.
Yeah, like 20 minutes, and then they're killing it on YouTube. Yeah. So like, how are you developing these ideas so quickly?
Well, that's what I always did on the road.
Okay.
So I always, who had that quote? The famous comic. I'm so bad with names. He's dead, but everyone quotes him. A lot of bad open micers are like, that's their guy. And then, but
bad open micers is their guy.
Oh,
but he's a good comic. The guy
he's a great comic.
Mitch Hedberg?
No, before that, with the smoking and the glasses.
Bill Hicks?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like bad open micers are like, but Bill Hicks.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He said, your material is for when you run out of stuff to say.
Uh-huh.
And I heard that quote after the fact. I was already kind of doing that, but I'm like, yeah, man, I relate to that quote. Because that's how I always work the road. The first 5 or 10 or 20 minutes, depending on how much I had to say about my travel or the day or the news or my life, I would just kind of freeform say it. And once I ran out of stuff to say, I'd be like, well, I guess it's time to do the jokes, But that's how I generate new material too, is that pieces of that or the entire thing itself might stay in the show. So that's how the material cycles in, old material cycles out, new stuff comes in, maybe we put stuff together. But the way it comes out formed is I'm in my head all the time, so I talk about it. And I was just trying to, the week started with Biden pardoning his son.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I want to do a joke about that. And I was just thinking about it, and I was like trying to come up with an idea. And then the ideas I had, I didn't love, but they weren't bad, but they're like, that's fine. But then the CEO for the healthcare company got shot. And then so I tried to look at it as a whole, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a fair week. Because the first thing was unfair, but then the healthcare CEO goes down. So you're like, someone's, and I'm like, that is kind of balanced. So then I was in the shower, and in my head, I'm like, oh, that's like God is like a bride moving around chairs in a seating map.
I love that analogy.
He's moving. He's like, well, we got to move this tragedy up to balance out. Otherwise, the people will be unhappy. And it's kind of a dark joke, but the people kind of they were into it.
For sure.
And but that's how that got formed. I was trying to write this Hunter Biden joke, which actually did come around last night, because I kind of came up with why it really bothers me. And I think it's because I grew up without a dad. And so I'm like, oh, that's what dads are for. Dads get you out of trouble. Mm-hmm. And moms, like my mom was always like, I'll turn you in. Throughout my childhood, my mom's like, single mom. She's like, do not get in trouble. I will turn you in. Mm-hmm. I would have no issues turning you in. And so I did that last night, and like the audience really connected with that. We're like, oh yeah, dads do get you out of stuff, and moms are more like, no, you deserve the punishment, maybe a little more. And so that bit worked, and then I still tied it in with the CEO thing. So now it's like, it really felt like it came together last night. But so that's kind of how it works. Like I have the initial idea, and then maybe something else happens, and I tie it together. And then as I get 5 swings at it this week. And so hopefully by tonight, the last show, it really dials in.
And you're filming each one?
Well, normally.
Normally you would film throughout the weekend, and then are you piecing together different nights? Or it's like it grows throughout the weekend, and then that final night maybe is the one you use on YouTube?
More times than not, what you just said.
It builds to the final taping?
More times than not, yes. Sometimes Sometimes no, though. Sometimes I'll do the compilation thing.
And you just wear the same thing every night?
No, sometimes I don't. And I'll just be like,
whatever.
See if people notice.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, because I don't mind like pulling the curtain back and going, hey, listen, I'm gonna play with this idea all week. And especially if it's a topical news story, I more than likely will not be talking about this either next week or 2 weeks from now.
Exactly.
So it's throwaway material. But even if a piece of that stays and becomes a big chunk of my act and ends up being on a special one day, that's fine too. But yeah, I learned that opening for Mark Normand years ago. It was before he really like blew up. Mm-hmm. And I remember I watched his set, and he had done like so many Conans, like late night spots, and his whole hour was all the 5-minute sets together. I'm like, I think I've seen most of this hour. And guess what? No one in the audience noticed. Maybe they recognized a joke or two, but you can't tell. Uproarious laughter. Mm-hmm. Murdered the entire time. And I was like, oh yeah, everyone didn't watch all those 5-minute sets. So I put a little bits of the material that might stay, maybe it doesn't. And people are like, are you burning that material? I'm like, no, I'm not at that level to where like, even if the clip gets 500,000 views, it's not that many. I mean, that's a lot, but it's also, I'm in front of 100 or 200 people in Atlanta. What percentage of audience even saw that clip? Yeah. Or the stuff I added afterwards, or the thing it tied into. Like, so I don't have an issue putting my stuff out there, and especially the topical stuff that all becomes pointless in a week or two anyway.
So you have the idea of, are you talking to yourself, or are you just mulling it in your head? You're talking out loud to yourself, like in the shower?
In my head,
you're thinking
talking out loud.
Joe Biden pardoning you're just constantly thinking, what are connections to this? Just constantly rolling it around in there.
Yeah, so I am, as my wife would like to say, I'm mentally unavailable most of the time. I grew up I have a brother now, but we're 13 years apart. So for my first 13 years, I was an only child with a single mom who worked a lot. I spent a lot of time alone. So I was always in my head. And I never minded being alone because I got to have my thoughts, and I would, that childhood led to what I am now as an adult, where I'm always in my head, so I'm always writing material, but it's hard. It's hard for me to be present sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You know? Well, I appreciate you carving out some time for this. Where we can focus for a minute. Yeah.
It's like I can do it for moments of time, like an hour or two here or there, but for the most part, it's hard for me to be present.
Yeah, right after this, you're just gonna be rubbing the walls. You just need a little me time now.
I just like, if there was a hidden camera in this hotel room, it would be a lot of me walking around going, it would be a lot of that, and then me trying it on stage.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had Mark on here several times, and he talked about he'll just walk around his hotel room saying his jokes out loud, and that's like how he writes.
Wow, so I don't do that. I do it in my head, but yeah.
Yeah, so
similar.
So you're not. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Yeah, I keep it. I think that's insane to say it out loud. These walls are thin. I got a neighbor next door. He's been hacking up a lung all weekend, and I'm like, I hear that. Can you imagine if he's like, well, butterscotch? You just hears me yelling butterscotch.
You're knocking back. You want tickets with a punchline? You're like just selling your tickets still. Yeah.
Why does he keep saying raw dogging? Is he trying to write a joke about raw dogging? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the poor guy next door has to listen to me, so I keep it inside.